All right, let's get into it. You've seen this happen before, right? A brilliant idea, a mountain of cash, a team of absolute rock stars, and then poof, the project just fizzles and never really makes the impact it was supposed to. So, what's going on here? Well, today we're going to get to the bottom of it, and you might be surprised at how simple the answer really is.
So this is the big question, isn't it? I mean, think about it. It could be a new park in your neighborhood, a big new government program, even a shiny new app. Why is it that some of these things just take off, they're amazing, while others are dead on arrival? The answer, and this is the crazy part, is hiding in plain sight. It's something we miss constantly.
Okay, let me give you an analogy. Imagine you're throwing this huge, epic surprise party. You go all out. You hire a loud rock band, you get one of those massive, super expensive seafood towers, but here's the catch. The guest of honor? Yeah, they're a total introvert who's deathly allergic to shellfish. So, was the party a success? I mean, you spent the money. You put in all that work, but it was a total disaster. Why? Because you forgot to think about the one person it was all. And that right there, that's the whole point. We get so caught up in the money, the tech, the spreadsheets, but project success, it's not about that stuff. It's about people. It's about understanding them, actually listening to them, and building something with them, not just for them. So there's a fancy word for all these people we're talking about: stakeholders. The official definition from our source is basically anyone, an individual or a group, who has some kind of interest or concern in a project. Honestly, just think of them as the cast of characters in this whole drama. And every character has their own story, right? And here's where it gets interesting. Each of these characters comes to the table asking a completely different fundamental question. You've got the beneficiaries, the very people the project is meant to help, and all they want to know is this actually making my life any better? Then you have the funding agencies, the ones with the checkbook. They're asking, hey, is our money being spent well? Meanwhile, the program manager is sweating the details, wondering, are we on schedule? Are we on budget? And, of course, the government's looking down from 30,000 feet asking, does this fit with our broader policies? See, it's the same project, but they're all watching a completely different movie.
Now, we can pretty much split these folks into two main camps. First, you've got your internal stakeholders. These are the people inside the organization running the show. You know, the program managers, the staff. Then you've got the external ones. That's basically everyone else who has a stake in the game. Community members, the donors, and, crucially, the beneficiaries themselves. Now, you'd think, okay, just get everyone in a room to talk. But, yeah, that's where things start to get really, really complicated.
So the solution sounds simple enough, doesn't it? Just ask people what they think. But come on, if it were that easy, pretty much every project would be a home run. The reality is, trying to get all these different people with different goals on the same page is, well, it's a huge challenge. And this is where we get into the real hurdles. First up, the communication barrier. And I don't just mean people speaking different languages. Think about it. An engineer talks in blueprints and technical jargon. A community leader talks in stories in terms of real human impact. A donor talks in spreadsheets and ROI. They can all be in the same meeting, talking about the same thing, but they're speaking completely different languages. It's like a recipe for misunderstanding. All right, next, let's talk about power. Because in any room, let's be honest, some voices are just louder than others. The person with the money, the big shot donor, their opinion often carries way more weight than, say, a single mom from the community who's actually going to use the service. And when that happens, you risk building a project that serves the powerful, not the people who actually need it most. And then there's the whole mess around data. Everybody agrees, yeah, we need to measure success, but what does success even mean? To a funder, it might be a clean, simple number on a report. We reached 10,000 people. But to a beneficiary, success might be something like, I feel safer in my neighborhood now. How do you put that on a chart? These arguments over what to measure and how to measure it can literally grind a project to a halt. And finally, the one we all know too well, resources. You just never have enough time, money, or people to make everyone happy. It's a constant juggling act. So you have to make tough calls. Whose brilliant idea gets funded, and whose gets pushed to phase 2, which we all know might never happen. It's a brutal balancing act every single time.
Okay, so after hearing all that, communication barriers, power struggles, data fights, it might feel a little hopeless. But it's not. The answer isn't to pretend these problems don't exist. The breakthrough is to build a system that's designed to handle all of it. A system that can take all that messy, complicated human feedback and turn it into fuel.
And that system is built around one single idea: stakeholder feedback. And look, we're not just talking about a dusty old suggestion box in a corner. We're talking about systematically collecting all the opinions, the ideas, the complaints, the good, the bad, and the ugly from absolutely everyone. The key insight here is that this feedback isn't some annoying distraction from the real work. It is the real work. It becomes your roadmap.
So how do you actually do this? Well, you use something called a feedback loop. It's a cycle that just keeps going. First, you engage. You actively go out and talk to people. You don't just wait for them to show up. Second, you collect. You gather what they have to say, whether it's through surveys, interviews, whatever works. Third, and this is so important, you analyze it. You look for the patterns, the common themes. What's everyone really saying? And finally, step 4, you improve. You take what you learned and you use it to make the project better. So think about that park example again. The blueprint says big, empty field, but you go out and talk to people. Parents are saying, we need a fenced-in playground for the kids. Seniors are saying, we need more shady benches. So you take that feedback, you change the plan, and bam, you build a park people will actually love and use. And then you do it all over again.
There's this quote from the source material that just nails it. It says that feedback gives you insight into how the program is being perceived. That word, perceived, that's everything. You can think your project is the greatest thing since sliced bread, a total 10 out of 10. But if the people you're trying to help perceive it as a 2, well, then it's a 2, end of story. Their perception is the reality.
So what this all boils down to is a huge mental shift. Listening isn't just another box to check on a project plan, step 5, community outreach, check. It's not a chore you have to get through. It is the actual engine of the whole project. It's what steers it, keeps it on track, and ultimately drives it to success.
So I want to leave you with one final thought, a new question to carry with you. The next time you hear about a new project or you're sitting in a meeting planning something, just stop for a second and ask yourself, who isn't in this room? Whose voice are we not hearing right now? Because finding that missing voice and really listening to it, that could be the difference between failure and success. That might just be the key to everything.